Hello everyone, happy Tuesday, October 7th, and for today's empowerment card is elegance with these two little swans on the card. They look so elegant and sophisticated and poised. So the card says, "It is found in the beauty of nature, the lotus waiting to bloom. Be the swan on the water and glide." And I actually, oh, looks like there's two swans in the center too, with their necks like wrapped around. That's pretty cool. But I actually did some research about swans because I didn't know too much like about their behavior, and I just knew that obviously I'm pretty sure that they mate for life unless they can't reproduce, and then they will separate and find a new mate if they have to. But they obviously, like it says, they move across the water gracefully, with serenity, and they have like a really calm exterior, and they're just kind of poised and going about their business. And every time I see a swan, they're just like sitting on the water enjoying just the day. They're just minding their own business basically. But I have seen swans get really defensive around people, if it's somebody that's threatening them. I think I saw a video last week when they were like hissing, and it was kind of scary. So they can be scary, but not unless they're provoked or if they're threatened, or like I was reading, if their young is like in danger or something, they will protect their young, their loved ones too. And I wrote loved ones, but I think that was more for like a person thing, like if you don't have kids or if you don't have like younger family members or something, like your loved ones. Because I feel like with the swan spirit and the elegance of this is to keep going through life with the grace and the serenity of a swan. So keeping calm and knowing that if something does provoke you, you should stand up for yourself, and you should face a predator head on. If you're in a situation where somebody is testing you, and also stand your ground, to be yourself and express yourself, and to be strong about it. And like I wrote here, the swans kind of go about their day accomplishing their tasks. I think they they'll make nests, they'll search for food, they'll do what they have on their to-do list if they cross those off for themselves. But they will attack when they're provoked and threatened. They will they're about that business. They will go after you if they need to, but they also go with the flow. And I wrote for my notes, accomplish what you set out to do, but adjust or pivot when needed. Like I said, they will leave a mate if they need to, if they aren't reproducing. So if you need to adjust and tweak something, if you need to leave a situation, do it with confidence, and do it with like intuition, following your intuition, however you feel. If you need to leave a situation, if it just does not feel right to you, leave that situation and think about where your energy is best placed, and where, what person or situation or environment deserves your energy. And I also wrote down here to pick your battles and mind your business, because that is basically what swans do. They just be minding their own business on the water, but they will fight you if they need to. So I forgot what I was going to say for that, but moving on to the next one, because I'm sure it'll come back to me. But move gracefully and confidently through each day, even when people try to test you. Stand up for yourself when needed, and not saying to like be rude, to be mean. Don't hiss at people, don't bite people. If that's not necessary, if you don't need to hiss at somebody or bark at somebody, don't do that. I think when people bark at people, it's really funny. But yeah, stand up for yourself when needed. I've been through so many situations where I was like being tested, and I also had to pick my battles in those situations. Like, did I really want to waste my time on this? Was this person really deserving of an explanation or my energy? And not really doing it to be like selfish and like, no, you don't owe anybody anything, because we do owe people like kindness. Again, like swans, they are not starting anything, they're not starting any problems, but they're going to finish the problem, and you're going to be regretting that you even started that with them in the first place. So honestly, that's kind of how I go about things, and which I feel like can be really helpful for you too. Like, if you have a hard time picking and choosing your battles, thinking about how that will affect you or make you feel later on, even though it can be hard. But there are sometimes I feel like sometimes I really want my feelings to be known, especially if it's in a situation where somebody's going to hear it, like the other person is going to hear it. But then there are other times where I know that based on prior experience with somebody that they're not really going to hear me out. So those are the times that I don't, I'll be like, okay, like, just keep going about it. I will say, like yes or no. I will say what I mean. I won't go into like extensive detail, but I'll just keep it moving, because not to say like I feel like sometimes we can, obviously in our own situations, if you know a certain person who is just not growing, not interested in growing, and it also is not your responsibility to help somebody grow if they are so resistant to it. It is, sometimes we can teach people things and we can help them through things, but we don't need to sacrifice ourselves in order to, to get them going, to push them into that growth if they really, really don't want to. But, I'm sure that they will learn on their own. And that is something that I've had to teach myself, is that like, I don't have to be everything to everybody and be nothing to myself. So again, that is something that I've really been learning in like the past, like yesterday and today. I've been in a lot of like feelings about that, and I can explain more about that too if anybody wants to hear it, and just like how I've gone through those things. Because like I was saying, like a lot of what I've gone through is like people testing me and wanting to push my buttons like a swan. It's just like I've been chilling, and then I'm into a situation where it's like I'm defending myself and not really being even prepared to do that, because it just wasn't on my mind or top of mind or anything like that. But it's just like thrown into a situation where I needed to stand up for myself and had to really quickly on my feet choose what was worth my time, what was worth explaining, and what wasn't. And a lot of I've gotten through a lot of that. I didn't know how to say that. But I've gotten through a lot of that by recognizing other people's patterns and recognizing, just how they talk, how they approach certain things. Also evolving with the person to see if they're doing something a little bit differently. Like my dad has evolved over the years, where I've noticed different patterns of his, and where he's been able to recognize certain things and how to approach him in certain situations. So there's been a lot about that, and there's been a lot of pattern recognition, and a part of me also thinks that that is almost like a defensive, kind of thing, where like I'm anticipating another's reaction, because I think that just goes more into like further like growing up and having to always anticipate another person's reactions, and always I could keep going on about that. But yeah, sometimes it does take, just almost like studying people to an extent. But again, not making that your job, not making that your responsibility to always be like, here you go, this is exactly what you need. I knew you needed it, and here you go, even though you didn't say anything. That is also like sometimes a disservice to yourself. But also at the core of it, making sure that you are standing up for yourself. You are, confidently yourself. And, when you feel threatened, say something. Stand up for yourself. Stand up for, your needs, your feelings, all that kind of stuff. And, continue to focus every single day on what you have planned, what you want to accomplish. And, just really stay focused on, in your little bubble, on what you want to do. And when an obstacle arises, again, like with the swan, if they need to mate with somebody else, if they're not, producing any young, then you need to adjust, and you need to, get through that obstacle in some way, to find a way around that whenever, that problem arises. But yeah, continue to stay in your lane and focus on what you need to do. Focus on what is necessary for you to get through your day with confidence, and again, with elegance, with poise, with calmness, with serenity and grace. And know that you're not also in competition with anybody, because I feel like swans, and also like animals in general, they're not like worried about what the other animal's doing. They're not worried about what other birds are doing, if the other birds are faster, if the other birds are more efficient, if the other birds, whatever they're doing. they are just swans. Swans are just being swans. Pelicans are just being pelicans. Like, but yeah, just continue to do what feels right to you and to go through it with confidence, knowing that you are who you're supposed to be. And you have this life path and, you know, these life experiences because you are supposed to. And continue to stand up for yourself. If you are in a situation where you know you're feeling like you're being attacked, think about it maybe rationally, and you know how you can express your feelings with not also, you know, like intentionally bringing the other person down. Because sometimes I feel like when we stand up for ourselves, other people can be hurt by that if they don't want to hear the truth. That is also like another topic that I can talk about too. But yeah, just making sure that you are expressing yourself and in the most authentic way so that you are heard and that you are being yourself. And that may have gotten away from the swan message, but yeah, that's what I was feeling, honestly, because like I said, I was doing my swan research, and yeah, I learned a lot about them because I've driven by them so many times, and it also gets really sad when they only have one mate. I hate to see that, but yeah, they're also loyal. That's another thing. They're loyal to, you know, their partner. Sometimes they're loyal. Sometimes they do cheat. I did see the black swans. So one in every 7 is reproduced and like created out of adultery, which was very interesting. I didn't know they were about that, but I guess they are sometimes. And yeah, keep going through life, you know, with a calm demeanor, and just focus on yourself. Focus on what you were doing. Don't compare yourself to another person's life path, what they're accomplishing, the speed that they're accomplishing something. Like if they are accomplishing something faster, quote unquote, because all of our different all of our lives are different at different paces and for different reasons. Don't compare yourself to that. It doesn't matter what they're doing because, you know, their end goal, their journey is completely different than yours. So, you know, stay focused on what you're doing. Focus on like the beauty of life and the beauty of every single day. Like also like being grateful for it too. Like I just read the first line of this. It says, elegance is found in the beauty of nature. I feel like we can really find those great things when we're sitting and paying attention and being present in the moment. So focus on, you know, what you're doing. Focus on what you need to accomplish. Pivot when you need to, and go about it with elegance and confidence. So that was my message for today, for October 7th. I hope it is a great day for you. I'm actually posting this in the morning because I'm recording it the night before. Trying to get back on my schedule with these because I'm done with, you know, my markets, and I'm just trying to again find the right rhythm for me. But if you want to see more of these, let me know. If there's something else that you want me to talk about too, like I would love to, you know, help however I can. And I think this was just something, like these messages was just something that I felt called to do. I thought would be interesting because I do want to post more and be on here more, but I just wasn't sure what to talk about. If you want me to just talk about myself, I can just talk about my day and sort of the things I've learned. But I don't know, whatever you guys want to see. So let me know, and I hope this helped you in some way. Let me know how it resonated, and I will see you guys tomorrow with another message. Bye for now.